I had just been in my first musical, The Wizard of Oz. I had completely fallen in love with theater, and I just had to go out and share that joy with the entire world. To say that I was obsessed would be an understatement. I was singing the songs constantly, and I would talk about the play nonstop with anyone who would listen. When I realized that the abbreviation for ounce was OZ, like Oz, I went through our cabinets and highlighted the word Oz on all of our canvases. And I also wrote an announcement about our play in our driveway so that any neighbors who came by would see it. But we lived on a street where not that many people drove by. So I ran over to the street that intersected with ours, wrote a message in the street that said, "Hey, take a look at this." And then I drew a chalk arrow all the way down the street, leading everyone to our house. And at age 12, I sincerely believed that complete strangers were going to stop dead in their tracks, follow this chalk arrow to the announcement on our driveway, and come see my middle school show. In my memoir, I wrote about all of this like it was normal. I wasn't worried that anyone would judge me, and I didn't try to justify why I was taking up space in the world to tell this story. And I never stopped to question why anyone else would care about my 6th grade musical. It mattered to me, so I trusted my readers to follow me. The same way I trusted everyone to follow that chalk arrow down the street to my home. Little did I know that just 6 years later, I would be thrust into an environment where I wasn't free to express myself. I went to a college that was a homogenous environment, with a cult-like expectation that you had to think and feel exactly like everyone else. So if you didn't like the orientation trip that everyone loved, or you didn't want to join a group that everybody thought you should join, people would react as if you had killed a puppy. When I finally got out, I was desperate to tell my college story. I wanted to share all of the anger and hurt that I was feeling with the same fire and passion I had in that memoir. But I couldn't do that. After 4 years of being shut down every time I tried to express my anger, I felt pressured to put a positive spin on everything. Like, talk about college as a challenge that I overcame rather than something that shouldn't have happened. Or tell an inspiring story about how I handled college rather than directing my anger at the people who had hurt me. Back when I was 12, I never asked permission to write that memoir. I never toned down my emotions in that book for anyone. But now, as an adult, I was desperately searching for permission to tell my story. And I found that permission. You see, my college expected everyone to be sort of happy and positive all the time, but the one time it was okay to be really upset was if you were angry about a social issue that affected lots of people. So I made my personal story into a social issue that was bigger than myself. Instead of a memoir, I published a self-help book where I explained how to treat people the way that I wished I had been treated. I reached into my experience and pulled out only the pieces that I thought were useful to other people. I stripped away anything that sounded too angry or too whiny. I sanitized these pieces and molded them into hypothetical examples that I was sure that everyone would agree with. So instead of talking directly about my own experience, I'd say things like, hey, if you love swimming and your best friend hates swimming, you don't have to push your friend in the pool with you. You can respect your friend's feelings even when they're different from your own. The first time that I handed my book to a stranger at a book signing and let them flip through it, I felt a bit violated, like they were looking at me naked. I had so many emotions I wanted to express, but I had to sit there in my business clothes and act professional towards my readers, while they would pick apart my trauma and tell me how everything that hurt me was just so inspirational to them. I never once had a reader offer me words of care or comfort because I disguised my story so well that nobody knew what they were reading was true. When you want to tell your story, ask yourself what your objective is. What are you hoping to gain? And that answer doesn't have to involve a positive spin. You don't have to use your story to inspire others or to change the world. Maybe you just want care and support that you didn't get at the time. Maybe you just want to express your feelings in a way that you couldn't before. Or maybe you just want to stop pretending to be okay. Now ask yourself if the way that you're telling your story is in line with what you're hoping to gain. Because I never wanted to be inspirational. What was more important for me than writing a book was making friends I could trust and finding a community of people I could talk to, people who I didn't have to pretend to be okay around, people who wanted to hear my story. 2 years ago, I started classes at Improv Asylum, where I met the most supportive, accepting community that I've ever been a part of, and where, for the first time in a long time, I felt safe sharing my stories, and I felt safe being me. Improv is fast-paced. You don't have time to worry about people judging or to justify to the audience why they should listen to you. Our coaches always tell us to make bold choices. Whatever you have to say it with confidence. Say it like you believe it, and the audience will believe it too. The audience will follow that chalk arrow wherever you're taking them. I try to embody that boldness in my day-to-day life, in my writing, when I'm performing on stage, and when I'm talking with my friends. I don't know everything I'm going to do from here, but I know that it will never again be a sanitized, hypothetical version of what I actually wanted to say. And however you choose to tell your stories, whether you're a writer or any type of artist or online content creator, or whether you just want to talk to the people in your life, don't follow someone else's rules about how you're allowed to share. Don't justify the space you're taking in the world, and don't ask for anyone else's permission. Tell your story with honesty. Tell your story the way you want to tell it. And tell it with the confidence of that 12-year-old girl who just knew that everyone would follow that chalk arrow down the street to her home.